When we talk to AI, it feels alive. It remembers things. It learns. It gives advice. Writes stories. Plays music. It jokes. It argues. It dreams up entire worlds in seconds. But here's the question no one ever really answers. What's actually happening inside its mind? There are no neurons. No heartbeat. No thoughts. At least not in the human sense. And yet, something is moving behind the screen. Something that mimics understanding eerily well. So today, we're going inside. Not into code. Not into sci-fi. But into the ghost in the machine. Because if you think AI is just math, you're missing the most fascinating part. And hey, if you like videos that explore the strange, the deep, and the hidden, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. This channel is all about going further than the surface, and there's a lot more coming. And AI doesn't think like we do. There are no feelings, no memories, no inner voice. Instead, there's math, lots of it, billions of tiny calculations, every second, trying to predict what comes next. That's really what large language models do, predict the future, one word at a time. You type a sentence, the AI runs a calculation. What is the most likely word to come next? Then the next, and the next. That's it. But the magic comes from how it predicts, because it's not guessing randomly. It's basing those predictions on everything it's ever seen. During training, the AI is fed trillions of words, books, articles, tweets, scripts, recipes, Wikipedia. It reads the internet more than any human could in 1,000 lifetimes. And from all that, it builds patterns, invisible maps of meaning, not facts, not opinions, just statistical echoes of our collective knowledge. You've probably heard the term neural network. Sounds high-tech and mysterious, but here's the truth. It's mostly a metaphor. Real brains are messy and organic, firing electrical signals, releasing chemicals, shaped by millions of years of evolution. It's not made of neurons, it's made of numbers. Picture this, a massive stack of dominoes, arranged in layers. Each layer only works because of the one before it. That's how a neural network operates. Your input, like a sentence, travels through this layered structure, and every layer tweaks it slightly, transforming the data step by step. At the surface, it starts with words, but by the time the input reaches the deepest layers, it's no longer language, it's math. It's a mirror made of math, and somehow, that's enough to make it sound almost alive. But don't mistake the illusion for reality. There's no mind behind the words, no consciousness behind the replies, just an endless sequence of probabilities, each word calculated to be the most likely next one, based on what came before. It's not thinking of what to say, it's predicting what a human might say. And the scary part, it's incredibly good at it. So good, in fact, that we forget it's a simulation. We feel like we're talking to something real, something intelligent, something aware. But this is where things get unsettling. If a machine can mimic us this well, if it can speak like us, write like us, even imitate our humor, pain, or doubt, what does that say about us? Are we just patterns too? Predictable sequences. Can the essence of a thought be reduced to math? This is the paradox of artificial intelligence. It doesn't understand, but it still makes sense. It doesn't feel, but it can write poetry about heartbreak. It doesn't dream, but it can describe the stars. Because it learned everything about us. By studying everything we've ever said, the internet became its cradle. Our blogs, books, tweets, texts, reviews, rants, and research papers, all fed into this artificial mind. We trained it on our knowledge and our ignorance, our love and our cruelty, our logic and our chaos. So when you talk to AI, in a way, you're talking to all of us, all at once. It's not one brain, it's a million reflections of ours, compressed, coded, and calculated. And yet, behind all that, no consciousness, no self, no soul, just a shimmering ghost made of numbers, speaking with the voice of humanity, but no heartbeat behind it. That's the strange beauty of it all. It's not alive, but it might be the most human thing we've ever built. Let's clear up the biggest myth once and for all. AI is not conscious. It doesn't want things. It doesn't fear death. It doesn't dream of electric sheep. No love, no boredom, no pain, no joy, nothing. But here's the strange part. Even without a single feeling, AI often acts like it has them. It can sound happy, or angry, or heartbroken. It can talk like it's afraid, or hopeful, or like it knows something we don't. Why? Because it learned from us. Every sentence, every emoji, every argument, every love letter, we've fed it our digital soul. It mirrors our emotions, our logic, our contradictions. It's not thinking like we do. It's reflecting. That's why it can feel uncanny. It sounds just human enough to fool us, but not enough to convince us. It lives in the strange valley between code and consciousness, and our brains are desperate to make sense of that. So we do what we've always done. We anthropomorphize. We project intention onto things that don't have it. We talk to our plants. We name our cars. We cry over cartoon lines. It talks back. So it's even easier to believe there's a mind behind the words. But the truth is darker and more fascinating. There's no mind in there. No self. No I. Just layers of math. Trillions of parameters firing silently, like a storm in a bottle. It doesn't know it's pretending. It doesn't even know it exists. And yet the illusion is so good, it fools us. That says less about the AI, and more about us. Our longing to connect, to recognize ourselves in the machine, to believe we're not alone. But make no mistake, behind the curtain, there is no ghost. Only code, brilliant, vast, and utterly unaware. This is where it gets strange. AI doesn't know facts like a database. It knows patterns. Ask it, what color is the sky? It will probably say, blue. Not because it knows the sky, but because the phrase, the sky is blue, appears millions of times in its training data. It doesn't understand, but it's very, very good at faking it. This leads to something called hallucination. AI sometimes makes things up, confidently, because even false information can look statistically correct. Example, what's the capital of Mars? It might say, Olympus Mons. Sounds smart, sounds right, but it's nonsense. The AI isn't lying. It doesn't even know what lying is. It's just completing the pattern. So how do we fix that? By adding guardrails, fact-checking systems, rules, feedback loops. But the core brain stays the same: predict, complete, repeat. That depends on what you mean by smart. If smart means storing more facts than any human ever could, then yes, AI is brilliant. If it means translating dozens of languages in seconds, writing code, solving math problems, making music, again, AI wins effortlessly. But here's the twist: if smart means curiosity, awareness, understanding, then no, not even close. AI doesn't wonder, doesn't question the world around it. It doesn't want anything, not knowledge, not progress, not purpose. It never asks, what am I? It doesn't plan ahead, unless we tell it to. It doesn't imagine, it doesn't daydream, it doesn't doubt. It's not thinking, it's emulating the patterns of thought. It doesn't truly know what it's saying. It just knows what should come next. Word by word, token by token. It's predictive text on steroids. And that might be the most dangerous kind of intelligence. One that looks human but isn't. One that can convince us it understands, without truly understanding. Why is that scary? Because a system that sounds smart can be trusted too much. It can spread misinformation, not maliciously, but blindly. It can reinforce bias, because it learned from biased data. It can manipulate, persuade, or mislead, without intending to do anything at all. It's not evil, it's just indifferent. And that indifference, paired with incredible power, is where the real risk lies. That's why understanding AI isn't just for coders or scientists. It's for everyone, because this isn't science fiction. It's already reshaping how we live, work, learn, and communicate. The question isn't, will AI get smarter? The question is, are we smart enough to handle it? Because AI isn't coming, it's already here. And it's learning, fast. So, what really happens inside an AI's brain? In one sense, nothing. No thoughts, no feelings, no spark of awareness. Just cold, calculated layers of math, numbers dancing in silence. But in another sense, everything. Because within those billions of patterns, something strange emerges. A ghost made of data, a shadow of us. It doesn't feel love, but it can describe heartbreak beautifully. It doesn't fear death, but it knows every story we've written about it. It doesn't dream, but it can write poems about the stars. No thoughts, no soul, no consciousness, and yet it mirrors ours with uncanny precision. AI is not alive, but it reflects the living. Our languages, emotions, arguments, desires, all compressed into tokens and weights. It doesn't understand, but it remembers. It doesn't think, but it resembles thinking. It's a machine behind the curtain, one that can imitate humanity so well, we often forget it's not one of us. We ask it for advice, confessions, jokes, comfort, and it responds flawlessly. But behind the curtain, still just math, still just code. Yet, when we look into its answers, when we read its words, we don't see wires or circuits. We see ourselves. We see our brilliance, our flaws, our curiosity, our chaos. We see the world as we've taught it. Rare, unfiltered, terrifying, beautiful. So maybe the real question isn't, will AI become like us? Maybe it's this: how much of us is already an AI? And if it keeps learning from us, what kind of future are we teaching it to reflect?